The following podcast is an RMG Media production.
It's time we go beyond the handshake. It's time we deepen business relationships and take it to the next level of cultivating and building relationships past that business card exchange and beyond the initial handshake. Welcome to Beyond the Handshake, where we will take a deep dive into getting to know businesses and business owners, why they do what they do in business, what drives them to success, why they work so hard, what they struggle with, what they succeed in, and tips they have for other businesses to learn from their experiences. I am Lucy Miller, founder and CEO of Women Connect. Let's go beyond the handshake. All right. Well, I am so excited to have our first male talent on the Beyond the Handshake podcast. Thank you, John, for being here. Founder of Marvel HR, and Staff Solutions. So really excited to talk to you about all things HR and hiring and technology and all of that. So,
well, first off, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm super excited about what you're doing with Women Connect and how you're basically branching out all over the Southeast, really.
Yeah.
And beyond in terms of your company, and it was exciting to see your passion, and, your talent, all that you're doing there. I think it's also we met over Brain Trust.
Yeah,
obviously
the connector of all things. The
connector, yeah. Well, they're vibrant to say the least, but so are you. I mean, you got another great model going at it, and so congratulations on your entrepreneurial journey and what you're doing. And so
thank you
for inviting me. I don't know what I did to be the first male. On here.
We just started talking about it and I'm like, absolutely, this will be a great interview. And you've had so much success and great insights into so many things that businesses are needing to grow. So.
Well, certainly we love people, and people are a hot topic, if not the topic in businesses. So I think we can bring some value and in a conversation today.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to go back to when you started Marvel HR and Staff Solutions. So talk to me about why you started it, what was your vision for it, and did you see it growing to what it is now? I'm sure you probably did because you're goal-oriented.
I'd say two different people started those companies, actually. One, I started Staff Source when I was 26.
Okay.
And Marvel HR when I was 40.
Okay.
So maybe 42, but 40.
So meaning two different people as in you have,
at 26, the risk tolerance is high. The sophistication is low.
Right.
Not sure it's gotten any better, but maybe a little better, as some of our friends might say. But the genesis of both, though, were an opportunity to improve on what was already in the marketplace, right? And I think the genesis of both was to go beyond transactional. And my passion, whether it was talent acquisition, Staff Source, or just HR and all things HR with Marvel HR, obviously both in the people space, was to go beyond the transaction and to really add the human element and add the human factor. And I think when you do that you create a better organization that serves its clients in a different and better way than a lot of what's happening in the marketplace. And so that was the genesis. Saw that pain, if you will, or opportunity, and went at it. And we've got both companies now, both well past $1 million.
That's awesome.
So that's exciting to see, and really serving their clients in really cool ways. And they're serving their clients in that way beyond the transaction. So we'll talk about.
Yeah, and beyond the handshake. So
beyond the handshake,
pretty close comparison there on that. I love that. So at 26 you started it, and then talk to me about the growth factor there. How did you go from gaining your first client to where you are now? What was that like?
Yeah. But it's a different experience even from what I am today to where I was then. But it's just sheer aggression. Was what it looked like at 26. It was just. I find a lot of entrepreneurs say, "Hey, I was dumb enough to do it," in a sense, and I would tell you I was dumb enough to do it. And what I mean by that is just, I'm going to do this. I want to start my own staffing company, and I'm just going to run and roll and
you
go.
Just had the grit, and you just kept going.
100%.
Yeah.
I do think it was all about grit. You've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs. There's 1,000 reasons to quit and about 2 reasons to keep on going.
Daily.
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 Pretty much every day.
Yeah.
finally I flipped that on its head and I'm like, really, we're just going to do this. You know what I mean?
Some of our friends Stop worrying about those things.
You should sell this. And I'm like, I can't sell it. I've got too much money invested in it. I'll never get my money out if I sell it at this point.
I got to keep going.
Yeah, I got to keep going because I might, maybe by the time I'm 80, I might pay myself back. So anyway, point is just grit and go and all that.
So then outside of grit though, now that you've matured and you've started a second company, what's the secret sauce now to continuing to grow it and expand? So you're actively still looking for new clients, bringing on, I want to talk about the customers you serve and all the things that you do for them.
In truth, I kind of kid around, but there's a method to the madness now. There's a lot of, I've endured a lot of education over the last 20 years. A lot more experience, a lot more understanding. I love the model of the competencies model. Like you go from unconscious competence to conscious competence. And so we've really been driving there lately, especially as we do with the work in Marvel that we're going to talk about. But we know we're going to grow now. It's not by chance. We know how to grow. And we understand and have the systems and processes in place to actually execute the growth.
Right.
Still headwinds, still constraints, much more refined in our people strategies, our people models, our overall business models. And so the inputs have more predictable outputs for us today than what they have. And I think that's really if the one word were to occur, to describe it, I would say maturation. In all things, right? In terms of strategies, tactics, and understanding of what we're doing. And as you said, both companies are growing and it's exciting.
That's awesome. So specifically with Marvel, you all provide a lot of HR solutions. So I want to talk about all those things. So pretend like I don't know.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Okay. think of Marvel as a human resource outsourcing company, and think of that as really a three-headed spear. It brings superior benefits through our captive, wrapped into a comprehensive HR program and HR strategy to include technology. So we walk in with the technology.
Okay.
We add a service layer of human resources on top of the tech, and then we supplement that with typically a cost savings in benefits through our captive. Captive simply means that we use economies of scale to aggregate multiple employers onto one insurance policy. So instead of being a 50-man group in the market looking for your organization, you join a policy with thousands on the policy, and therefore we drive costs down through that policy. It's great. So you got the benefits. That's a feature, right? But you also have that, and I love the fact that it's compounded, right? Like what I've found is great systems and great companies have compound effects. So we home run in benefits, we home run in our technology tech platform, our tech stack, and we also home run in just our HR execution that we guide our clients through, right? So when you put all those three together, the synergy of those is just an incredible solution.
Absolutely. So what do you feel like is what's usually the foot in the door with a company? What do they feel like they need from you first, that then their eyes are open to the other things that you offer?
People problems.
Okay.
So we provide a winning workforce, right? We optimize and enhance the employee experience for our clients, And if you talk to any leader, they want that, right? They want a better employee experience. They want to optimize and enhance all those things for their team members. And so how do we do it better? And so our clients come to us with a pain or at least a desire to optimize, improve, what's happening with my team, what's going on here? How do I do better, provide better benefits, experience, and that course tech and leadership and all things. So on the HR level, that goes into great performance management systems, great talent acquisition, great rewards recognition, compensation strategies, organizational effectiveness. We have one key team member that is pursuing her PhD, for example, in organizational development. We have those kinds of people on our team that just provide value in just incredible ways to our clients.
Yeah, I can imagine that, we've talked before about culture, but that's so important. And you guys can really help infuse that into a company and make that change. So what do you see as the biggest hurdle that companies have with culture? Is it that they don't know how to do it, or they don't know what the right way to go about it is?
All the above.
Both.
All the above. So who has time for culture? And so how do you do that? We have a well-baked model for how you define it, how you assess it, and how you improve it. And there's always worlds of opportunity to elevate the execution for an organization. The outcome then goes back to employee experience, right? One of the ways you assess culture is your employee engagement scores. Another way you assess culture, what is my retention and the kind of retention rates? And you dig down into that. And those are the assessments of culture, if you will, 2 ways to assess. But largely, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding of what culture is. So we bring an understanding and then we bring a model to implement.
What do you think most leaders, what's their misunderstanding about culture, do you think? Is it that what do you think they're doing wrong most of the time?
Yeah, well, I think they think it's idealized. And I think it's based on what I think, So
and their life view is very different, could be from your employees.
Oh, well, I mean,
most of the time.
You've lived it.
Yeah, well.
You've lived it.
I know a few examples firsthand.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, you've lived it, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea that I've got that there's no perfection in culture. You've got a culture, whether you think you do or not. Oftentimes, as you just said, it's not what I think it is. So that's why, for example, the survey of your team matters. A really good informational session, a really good survey session, really good feedback loops from your team have to be in place. And not so I don't want to do a survey. There's other ways to collect that data, but you got to know what it is. And I think to what you said. So what is it actually? What is it actually? The other one is most organizations have not defined the habits that are connected to the values on the wall. If they have values on the wall, or if they have a list of values, what are the habits, the sets of actions, subsets of actions that are defined by the terms? And then how are we holding people accountable? Are we holding people accountable? Are we living these out? And so there's a lot of dilution as you go from the value or word on the wall down to what's actually being lived out. And that's where you get, what's called cultural drift and things of that nature. And so, the person at the top, and me included, right? I mean, I'm at the top of my own. I've lived this. I'm disconnected from it. I've got one idealized view of it, but the reality of what's happening is just much different.
Right. Because you're not in the weeds of the everyday work per se. Because
doors are closed.
Yeah.
I mean, I got, look at the value, look at those things on the wall. I mean, things are going good. I think leaders that I find often, they don't understand the leverage in it, the leverage in great culture and the leverage where it flows ultimately. It flows through the engagement results improving, right? My feedback sessions for my team members going up. It flows through retention rates going up, meaning I'm no longer losing valued team members. It too increased scale, increased rates of growth, increased profit margins, things like that. So that's where you see it. But there's a lag effect there, right? These investments don't occur overnight. It takes time, it takes work, it takes real talent to execute on them in high degrees. But to do the work is well worth it because we see the outcomes and results. And it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that mission statement of just saying this is what we believe in, but then actually putting it to work and driving that through to your employees.
That's hard, right? That's hard. Let's, one of my companies, we have character, right? And so one of the ways we define character is in coachability. And so, yes, we've got character as a value that we have. We define that with a few more words. One of those words is coachability. Then we define the actions that correlate to coachability. So what does coachability mean? So coachability means when we come to you, another one is growth. So we know you have a growth mindset. We come to you with a challenge somewhere in your perform management review. We want you to improve here. So what coachability means to us is that you come into this session with a desire to listen, learn, and engage in those opportunities to improve where we coach you. Right? Yeah. So if you don't have that, then we have an automatic opportunity to say, hey, this is our value. We define it this way, high clarity, right? And so coachability. And so what does that do? You generate that momentum around coachability in this organization or in your organization. And guess what? You teach, train, you communicate. Your communication models are consistent. Your language is consistent. our team members come into the room going, hey, what do I need to improve? And so it's an openness and receptivity to it. So versus the alternative, which is, why are you telling me this?
Mm-hmm.
That's not an answer that our people give. It's tell me more. How do I improve? And that's where the rubber meets the road on that. And that's where, you have all these things, they come up with culture.
Yeah, I know. My brain also goes to like the fun side of culture of like keeping your employees happy and engaged and, building that community with each other too. I don't have employees. I have a lot of independent contractors and they're all over the place in all of our states. And so, we gather on Zooms and we get together a few times a year, but just really going out of our way to be supportive of each other. And I like to call it our community within the community. But my business model is different than, a true corporate, but, finding the ways that we can support each other and challenge each other, but also have fun too together. I think that's important.
That's your culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's yours.
Yeah.
I mean, some cultures have tremendous fun, right? I always think of Southwest, the old Southwest.
Yeah.
The pilot always got on, they told the joke. Their fun was part of their ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's professionalism, and there are cultures that don't have fun. They've got professionalism, or it's, I won't say no, don't have fun, but it's not as high.
They might not have as much fun as the others.
Well, but I love what you said though,
Yeah.
because this is culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a culture. Community is important to you and your group, and you will have a community. You focus on that community. It's female focused, right? So there's a high clarity, high identity.
Yep.
And another feature is fun. We want to have fun. We tell jokes. It's okay to have fun.
Yeah.
It's okay to we're in Sydney's office.
I know. This is the best.
It's all pink. I'm like,
it's the Renaissance marketing that I transformed to mine. I love it. Yeah, it's all pink here. They have fun here.
Oh, it's totally pink. Yeah, she has a blast. I mean, she's a happy-go-lucky person. But you can tell that, and that's an ingredient of her culture. So I think and you gotta find your world, right, and find the place that fits you and where you fit best. But community is one of our values in this organization. We do things intentionally to foster community.
Yeah.
We protect our community, and we value our community. And we have, what do we do in our community? If someone's hurting, we try to help. That's one of the actions that we live out. And if we see people not living that action out, then we say, hey, what's going on here? Are you hurting yourself, or how do we help you? And so, but to make it matter, you got to live that thing out.
Right.
And you really got to do it. It's not going, and I say this, 80% of the time, what are you doing? 80% to your 80% factor. Meaning it's not going to be perfect, but it's got to be pretty consistent.
Yeah. I was going to ask you for a success story, if you've got an example or one you could share, but leave the company nameless if you wanted, on like maybe a shift you were able to make with culture and how that's impacted them.
Yeah, 100%. We had a company with about 50 to 55% turnover. Sales were stagnant. Okay. So, pretty tough situation. They've been stagnant for 3 years. Margins were really volatile, up and down. Because, they're not keeping their people. They're not keeping their key people too. And so we go into this organization, and in about 24 months, it was one of our first success stories. 24 months, we gotten the retention down to about 20%, 21%. By the way, the 2 successive years have now been 18% and 16%. So what I'm saying there is their retention rates actually have gone from 80% now to 84% and now 86%. Wow. So yeah, right.
Awesome.
And guess what? Out of the 14% they're losing, they're driving those individuals out and forcing the terms. So they're almost keeping 100% now of the people that they want to keep, which is really rare. So guess what happened to their growth?
Skyrocketed.
30%, 33%, 35% profit margins, staying consistent, holding, because they're able to do that. And it really, the investment didn't change a lot on their end. It was just a mindset shift, learning techniques, tactics, embracing it, focusing on it, paying attention to it. The work was in the skill level. The work was in the leadership. The work was in compensation. The work was in engagements, feedback loops, successive and effective perform management, cadences in terms of how they were giving feedback to their team. But nothing better than that. I mean, now, 3 or 4 years later, we've seen this company's seen 100% growth, double their profits,
That's great. All because they focus on their people.
Because they focused on their people, and we also taught them a lot of tactics. Right? We taught a lot of tactics. We did a lot of leadership work. We organized the technology platforms in the system to facilitate this success. That's a big deal. We improved some of their offerings, but at the end of the day, that was the output. And so if you ask the CEO, and so what changed? Culture. Culture changed, and it drove the rest. So
I love it.
Thanks for asking the question. Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Well, so on the technology side, when you say platform, so that's like dumbing it down. That's a place where the employee has access to being able to log into things and has access to whether it be like learning platform, like what all is in that technology platform.
So first off, tech staff is so critical, right? It's so critical. It's as mentioned, it's a part of the solution. But what you need, in my view, what you need today is a very modernized, very intuitive tech platform for your HRIS. Our offering includes all of it. We have integrated benefits. So the first problem we see with most clients, candidly, is they don't even have integrated benefits. So, Lucy has to go here to sign up and onboard. The papers, wherever they are, all that should be digital. Then that should seamlessly walk with them into the benefits administration portion of what they're doing, right?
Okay.
I select my benefits plan. That matters. And so a lot of times it's just not. It's just disconnected,
It's disjointed. Everything's everywhere. Yeah.
Everything's everywhere. And so they're having to go all over the place for this stuff. So HR there's a two-factor theory. So imagine the foundational element being the tech, right? The tech has to be able to distribute the HR into the organization in a cost-effective manner. But before that, it just has to handle the basics, like you said, just like the blocking and tackling. And if you want to frustrate a team member really quickly, you don't give them access or information to their benefits. You make that slow.
Right.
You make that cumbersome. Whereas in our world, they go to one place, they get it, and if they need live support, they contact us.
Yeah, okay.
And so when we support the organization in that manner, so all that's integrated, not to perform management, applicant tracking, so everything lives in one place. Now, the complexity is we have to administer the system. We administer the system for a lot of our clients, which is a big deal because it's a big system. If you want to put all that in one place, it's a big system.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
But once you put that work in place, usually about a year in, after a client onboards, then they're like, I just got feedback the other day. I'm like, wow, you all can do that? Yeah, we can. And it's just, this particular employer has around 800, 900 employees. And it's just, there's a lot of leverage in that kind of scale in terms of cost reductions.
Yeah. Probably game changer for them, especially with that many.
They love it. They love it. They're super excited about it. And we're installing Perform Management for them now and,
awesome.
Laying on the consulting. So it's pretty cool.
So cool. So your ideal client, talk to me about who that is. Like dream client, whether it's industry type or a number of employees or people you work with outside of that dream.
Yeah, they want to optimize the employee experience.
Okay.
And they're struggling to do it well today, or they don't know how to do it well. Typically, we don't go above 2,000 employees.
Okay.
We usually stay under 2,000 employees. We go to smaller employers too. We load them on the platform. They don't usually have the load of need that some of our more complicated clients do. We just met the company that's quickly growing. They're growing. They're breaking systems. They're trying to figure out the administration. The benefits are over here. All that. But our typical client wants to improve employee experience. They value that, and they need help, and they know they want help, and they're coachable. Really, candidly, they're coachable. Find a lot of executives that it's good enough. It's not bad enough,
right.
Or they don't realize
that pain point yet.
Yeah, the leverage and what you could do from going from a retention rate of 71% to 85%. It's going to equate into the growth curve typically, but if you're already growing, who knows?
Awesome. Well, so what would you say to a company that has just a couple of employees and they are they want to grow, but they're also where they need to be right now for a while? Like culture is still important for that size company. So let's talk to that size for a second. Like what would be your advice on culture and building a team?
Well, I think It's the same whether you're 2 or 200, right? I think it's certainly the bigger it gets, the harder it becomes. But if you do the work at 2, 5, whatever the number is, and have clarity there. So one of our clients has 6 employees now, and said, "Hey, emotional maturity is something we value here. How do we assess that in the interview, right? Because we're about to hire 2 executives, so we're going to go from 6 to 8. These 2 executives are going to be pivotal hires for us. How do we retain our cultural standards?" Well, first off, what are they defined as? Have we done the work to establish the list of values? Do we have the subsets of actions? And do we have that? So let's take emotional maturity in this case, or psychological sophistication. It's one and the same in some senses. We've gone in, and it's so important because if they make a hire that's a bad cultural fit, it will drag the organization. So it's magnified when that size organization
makes the wrong.
It's critical. And so I think that if you get it right from the start and do it right from the start, and we have several clients that are smaller, 5, 6, 10 in nature. They love the fact that it's like, hey, I don't even have to think about it. You all solve these problems.
You're their HR person.
Yeah, and tell us how to fire these people, or tell us how to make sure that we have an assessment system that determines what our values are and get those people on track. So it's really cool.
So from a hiring perspective, how can you get down to understanding if someone is the right fit beyond just their qualification? So probably some good questions, and are there assessments you suggest using for hiring? What would you say?
Yeah, I've got a cheat sheet here. I'm going to tell you that we're working on just a minute. It's really cool.
So cool.
The number one is complicated.
Yeah.
So first thing is you have to recognize the complication in this. But we break every job down into a twofold, kind of 2 categories, right? Soft skills. What goes into soft skills? That's your values. That's your questions to determine whether that individual, go back to coachability. How do you react when someone coaches you? Well, guess what answer we look for? Well, when someone coaches me, I invite the feedback and want to grow and get better.
Or I freak out and cry and I don't like it.
Yeah, right.
That would be a bad answer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We may not hire that person.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, that's not the right answer. But the answer I get, that's, so you ask the questions that line up with who you are. Now, I'm on a cheat sheet on interviews, but that's the way you do it on soft side. Technical side, another deal, right? You gotta go same deal. But you had to really get down into the candidate persona. And understand what you are, who you are, what your needs are, and do that really well. So we walk our clients through that. It's pretty involved, to be candid with you. I mean, when you go drill down into questions that reverse engineer into your values and actions, there's some work there to be done. We've got templates that do that and quickly do that. The cheat sheet is this. We are developing our own tech internally, AI-based tech.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That will accelerate matchmaking, because one of the questions you talk about is, hey, where are we headed? Where are the transformations coming? I'm super excited about AI. I'm super excited about some of the work we're doing, because there's a problem to solve in the world, and that is, how do we leverage talent and skill at a higher degree and rate? We got a lot of talented people out here, and some of these people are doing the wrong things. Quite honestly, they could be doing the right things. And how do we identify what an individual should be doing, where they're especially gifted and talented? And even further to that, the needs of the organization. And when we put those 2 things together, magic happens.
Yeah.
Companies grow, people thrive, and AI can delineate on so many more variables at such higher degrees. We're finding as a result of some of what we're building. And it's so cool to see those go into effect.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, this person's really not best for this job. And you're getting ready to ask someone to do something they just can't do, without training, a lot of training and development. And so, you know that. I mean, right? Yeah. You've seen people go, oh, this job sucks. It's like, it's the wrong job for you. You should be.
I know some people in that position. Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean,
not me. I love what I do.
No, clearly. Well, you're born to do this.
Yeah.
You're born to do this. I'll agree.
But funny side note story, I helped at my gym the other day, and I did not compete in the competition. I instead counted. And so I had 2 people I was personally in charge of, and I was their counter and their cheerleader. And I left and I was like, I think I was born for this. I was like, I don't have time to be a trainer, but it was it was so rewarding because it brought out like the cheerleader in me. Like I had a person that I was not responsible for them, but I was their helper. And it was so cool. And like, I feel like you should feel that joy in what you do. And like, that helps you be better.
Hey, but so I see that in you though, right?
Yeah.
You love what you do with Women Connect. I mean, the passion is clear. Yeah. Because you're having fun doing what you're designed to do, which you're cheerleading and supporting, growing, and you're aligning a lot of interest there, which is kudos to you, brilliant. But that's it. Yeah. That's totally it. I mean, and I think enough self-awareness, right? Because self-awareness is hard. You've got enough self-awareness to go, I didn't want to do that, but I wanted to do this, and I really love doing that. And, and then you find roles in life and ways to fulfill that in life.
Yeah, it's always interesting how it evolves over time. And, I've matured from my banking days at 25,
I mean, right. Yeah, you understand the process.
Yeah, things have changed, but I love it. Well, you are clearly passionate about what you do and about people and helping them. What else, like we were just getting into it with the AI and the tech and all that, like what else is coming? So you've got something coming with that for your companies. Yeah, what else you got?
I'm afflicted with ideas.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
I have an idea.
You've got the same issue. Yes, good. We share the same affliction. Good. If the bank account could keep up with your ideas, who knows?
My husband's like, what now? What are we doing today? But you got lots of good ideas.
Well, I don't know if they're good or not. I've got lots of ideas. Will say this, that, the entrepreneurial journey, I have a couple people internally that vet. I've learned as one of the ways we build the organization is I have a sales skill set. I've got great operators around me. They're awesome at consistency, execution, operation. I come to the ideas and everyone, what the heck are you talking about? That's going to disrupt the whole thing. Take that back to the innovation lab. So I've learned to innovate at the innovation lab and, let the business run and then be more conscious and conscientious about what we're implementing, things like that. But AI definitely going to transform a lot of things, right? I mean, it's, we're sitting here on what I think is the surface of the next greatest tech boom, revolution, transformation, if you don't know how to work with the LLMs, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, we've just built our own tech very, very quickly because of the commoditization now in software development. 2 years. In 2 years, we're going to be we're basically going to be programming in English.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we're leveraging that to build our own stuff but everything we do aims at employee experience and team member support, right? So, the heartbeat of that is how do we make better matches? How do we improve that, in organizations? So I think there's going to be, massive evolve in organizations. There's going to be massive evolve in the way people function in organizations. I think entrepreneurship is going to be explosive. I mean, look at you, what you're doing. Look at all the people that we're friends with. I mean, they're just rocking it.
Everybody I know is an entrepreneur now, it feels like, and doing so many great things.
It's so easy. I mean, the flow of information.
Easy.
Well,
so easy.
Well, yeah, you do have to like a full force tailwind coming at you. Knock the mic off. But I mean, it's.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it's easy to get started. It's easier to get started.
And you got to have the grit, age 25 grit, and keep going.
I think that was just lack of something. I mean, that's just sheer.
So, what would you tell your 25-year-old self starting that business?
We don't have time for that.
I know, right?
Yeah. I still think you got to go for it, right? Because you and I, we see people that they just don't go for it. They got ideas, they don't go for it. But you also have to be ready because there's, I was just talking to another one of my friends and I said, well, we see all the success stories, but there's a lot of failures. Nobody reads the failure stories, but there's a lot of failures.
Yeah.
And so you got to be, it's such a huge and hard dichotomy to be, relentlessly optimistic to the end of grit, but real enough to know when to quit or just temper it down.
Yeah, pivot on things.
That's right. And so, I don't know, it's so hard to define. And much of the entrepreneur is just simply a risk taker, right? I mean, you're willing to take risk.
Yeah.
You're willing to put capital at risk. And I think entrepreneurs are called a lot of things. The way I call it and see it is risk taker with your own capital or, at least some of your own capital. So you got to be really conscientious, I think, about what you're doing there with that. I mean, that's a huge hard deal. So.
Yeah, and your time. I mean, outside of money, the time and effort and that it takes to build something.
It's a full-on lifestyle. People, I don't think people understand that. It's a lifestyle. This is not, you're never not at risk.
Right.
So when are you off?
Never.
Yeah, you're not off. No, you're never off. It's not, that's an illusion.
Yes.
At best. So.
Yeah, the whole work-life balance concept is great, but it is hard. It is really hard for, business owners to successfully do that. I guess if you have a strong team, there are times where you can fully take a break and make that purposeful effort, but I have a hard time with that.
It's me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And then you got to build the team, and the team has to stay intact. And, there's a lot of complexity there that's going on. But I think, here's another thing too. I think you're doing something inside of your space. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing something that's kind of very organic for you that is just natural. Yeah. I think that's really cool. That's really awesome. For me, I love people. I love seeing people succeed. I love experiencing success myself and watching that extend into others. That is so fun.
Yeah.
And that for me is really organic. And that, so the passion is easy, right? Your passion is super easy because you just love it. And then you get to model the organization. You'll have fun, and you find other people like-minded that want to embrace the community. And, that's when it can be fun. And then hopefully we make some money along the way, pay bills. Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, there is that. You've read the financial, I lost a lot of money.
Yeah, that was hard. Last year was a hard year. 2025 is going to be great.
Yeah, I hope 25 is great.
I know.
I'd say that was the 26-year-old self. There was a wide gap between hope and skill. But that's, as economics sometimes teach you a lot. They'll scrub down the hope and build the skill, or kill you at one of the two otherwise.
Well, so I know you're involved in lots of organizations. Do you ever do any one-on-one coaching with, if someone's like, I really want to learn from you, they hire you or just take you to lunch?
Both.
Both? Both? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just feel like you have so much knowledge, from building both your businesses and then what you're doing now.
So depending on the time, right? Because I love.
Just gave you a new idea.
Yeah, well.
Or not a new idea.
We coach, but a lot of what our coaching business is inside of what Marvel's doing. We're coaching executives on how to build their organizations, doing a lot of one-to-ones, group leadership work. But the interesting part for us in the business is we've actually done it too. We've built we've now built 2 different organizations, and I have a third company. So these are different organizations. We built organizations so we understand the influence impact from all levels, from the investor to the manager to the leader to the CEO down to being on the ground, the ground of the operation. So I think that gives us unique visibility, a unique position. I heard a guy say one time, he goes, I don't want another consultant that hadn't done it.
Right.
So we teach it, but we practice it, and that makes us unique. And I think that's been pretty cool. Selfishly, I learn a lot. I learn a lot, and I get to observe myself and the failures of others and see them in myself. We seek learning as one of ours, right? We love to learn. We take all failure is just learning. And you know this. Yeah. You've been doing this a while now.
Yeah.
You basically either adopt that mindset or your ego will get so crushed.
Right.
Oh, right. It already gets crushed.
Yes. And I've had to be like, I'm just going to pivot. That was learning. That didn't work. I'm going to have to, do something different.
So how did you learn it? How did you come to that?
Kind of just had to. If something's not working, so when we started branching out, I added some chapters in Chattanooga and Memphis, and they both were doing well. So we opened the second chapter in the same city. That did not do well. It was not needed necessarily at that time. And so I just pivoted. I'm like, well, let's just make it back to one. I can do it. Yeah. That's the easy decision. And then that was the right thing. So, but the ego could have kept me from doing that. Oh, that's embarrassing. I wouldn't want to close that,
How about some emotional resilience too?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
From where you started, if you've put yourself on a 10-point scale to where you're at today in emotional resilience,
right.
what's the growth look like?
Well, it's big, but I also still feel like I'm on the roller coaster.
In the moment.
In the moment, yeah.
If you zoom out.
If I zoom out, huge gains. Like maybe 8 or 9. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
think you got to be
different. Yeah.
You got to be to pivot. You got to be to keep going. You've got to be to,
right.
I lost money and now I got to figure out the next problem. I mean,
right.
I got a lot of friends in entrepreneurship. You do too. I mean, I don't know many that haven't lost money.
Right.
Even some of the ones that are growing and going gangbusters,
right.
they're constantly losing money. I mean, that takes tremendous resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It's back to the part about not knowing enough to be smart enough not to do it.
I know, right?
There's something to that.
There is. There really is. Well, this has been a great conversation, but I always love to wrap up with wondering from you, what does Beyond the Handshake mean to you? So that's the name of our podcast, Beyond the Handshake. What does that mean to you in relationships you build, how you build your business, how you relate with people?
From where we started, and you connect the dots right out of the gate. Life is so full. It's so rich.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a few times, and the human factor and the human experience, you can satisfy things on a basic level, right? But to go beyond that and to experience the richness of people and just the richness of all the things that we're doing, even winning and losing, right? I mean, but we're playing, we're trying. To our companies that are really engaged in, you talked about building culture and what are the problems? They're numerous because at best you might get to B in a. If you really assess yourself,
right,
you really get to a B. So are you going to look at that like, oh, our culture's fine? Or are you really going to go to it and go, man, are my team members like, are they in this thing? Are they really experiencing something cool? And when you have an organization, and I've gotten the chance to see this, I've fortunately made some good hires, or they joined the company and just they became what we needed in some cases, but to see those leaders lead people and to see how they enrich the lives around them.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I know, me too, right? I mean, that's just, I don't know that I'm that good at that, but I've got some people that are awesome at it. And maybe I am, maybe
you
not,
are.
I hope so. I want to be. And I can tell you that we're constructing that way by design now.
Mm-hmm.
We're constructing that way, culture in a way that does that, and we're affecting people in really cool ways beyond just like, hey, here's your paycheck.
Yeah.
Or, hey, here's your workplace. This is adding value. And, if you're on our team, I don't want to see you just thrive inside of our walls. I want to see you thrive everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Thrive in your life.
Right.
Thrive with your children. Thrive in all places. And I'm passionate about seeing that because you know what? And the truth of that is they do thrive better when, people do thrive better back in the workplace. So, we're manifesting as beings in places. I do a ton of spiritual work and, kind of my own work in terms of evolving and growing. And, I just think it's so important. But I would say that's what it means. It's back to beyond the transaction.
Yeah, definitely.
So, it's cool what you do too. And thank you for having me on. I mean, I really appreciate that. And I enjoy watching you succeed.
Thank you.
And see all your success. It's just fun,
Thank you. Just going for it. I mean, bringing women together is so important and having the community. But I mean, I'm excited that you're here as a testament that like having males in our world at Women Connect is a really great thing for lots of reasons, like the support, but also, the different perspectives on life and business. And, we are not an anti-man organization at all.
No.
I love it. Yeah. And this is awesome. I've loved this conversation.
I think some of the, whether it's what you all are doing or the work that other people are doing to empower and enlarge and grow what females are doing in the workplace is just absolutely outstanding. It's exciting to see the influence, the impact. We sponsor organizations that do that. And it's super exciting. We have many, many talented females in our organizations, and they're just thriving and doing great.
Well, you must have a great culture.
I hope we do.
Yeah,
I think we do.
I think you do.
One of them is probably the most blunt person I've ever worked with, and I love her.
That's
She's
awesome.
like, oh yeah, she's like, that's a terrible idea. I'm like, thank you.
I need you in my life. Thank you.
That's actually, I mean, that's when the business kind of started rolling. I mean, she's like, she took the bad ideas out. She's like, that's a terrible idea. She was one of the first people to say it. I'm like, somebody didn't give you the memo. Most everybody else around here is scared about their job. You're like telling me the truth.
You're like, no, stop that.
For real. She was like, I mean, it was like sandpaper,
So funny.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But
everybody can't be yes people.
No.
You need somebody like that.
And she just had an authenticity about this is right and this is wrong and this is not smart and this is really smart. Incredibly intelligent, incredibly wise, and just, I mean, change the game in organization.
That's what you needed. That's awesome.
100%. So so point is, it's really cool to see the work that you all are doing and what's going on, and we're glad to support, and super happy to be on the pink glasses and in the pink room.
Pink glasses. Yes.
Yeah, it's working for me.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we're going to put it in the show notes, but share with our listeners how they can find your company, like online, website, LinkedIn, however you want that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So marvelhr.com.
Marvelhr.com.
Okay.
Yeah, marvelhr.com. Of course, we're on LinkedIn. You got to look up Marvel HR.
Okay.
Easy to find. We should be very easy to find.
You are, yeah. We'll have it in the show notes. So, well, thank you. Thanks for being on. This is awesome.
Thanks, Lucy.